हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन ज़रूर दबाएं।
Pranam, Namaskar. BSR Media welcomes you in Heart to Heart, this special program. So we have with us Ma Arti Razdan. Pranam, Namaskar, Ma.
Pranam.
And then we have Swami Anand Subhuti.
Hello.
Hi,
United
Subhuti.
Kingdom.
Hello.
Pranam, Swamiji. Pranam.
Pranam.
Then we have Swami Moksha with us from India. Pranam, Namaskar, Swamiji.
Pranam, Moksha.
Namaste.
So we are going to start this program. This is Heart to Heart with Swami Anand Subhuti and Swami Moksha. So kindly, Arti, you just start the program.
Hi, friends. Welcome to today's Heart to Heart, BSR Media. We welcome you all on this show. And just to give you a little update in the beginning about what's been happening recently. So we saw that in the past few months, Basho, which is part of the Samadhi, the swimming pool, that has been put on sale by the OTI, saying by the Osho Foundation, saying that they have made 2.75 crores rupees loss. And because they ran into losses, they need to sell it in order to recover from their from the losses that they have made, and they're trying to sell it at a bid of 107 crores from the Bajaj family. So this case has been completely opposed by most of the sannyasins. We've put in cases at the charity commissioner, we have put in cases in the high court, and we are trying to oppose this sale, and we are trying to stop the sale of Basho. This is just a quick update on what is happening. And now I'm going to introduce you to a very dear friend of ours, Swami Anand Subhuti. He is a face that we've all known and seen over the years in the ashram. So in the 1970s, Subhuti worked as a political journalist in both the houses of parliament. In 76, he came to India to meet Osho, and he went from Pune to Oregon and was in Oregon all throughout. After that, he edited, and he was the editor of Osho Times English International. And then he's also the author of 2 books, Wild Wild Guru and Dances with a Madman. Whew, Subhuti, you've done so much.
It's a confession of how old I am.
So welcome to the show, Subhuti.
Thank you.
And then we have Moksha with us. Moksha is our legal brains. He's brilliant mind and absolutely amazing with his legal knowledge. He has been the whistleblower, and through him we first came to know that Basho was getting sold. So Moksha, big salute to you.
Arti,
Salute
we have... Yes, Arti,
Yes.
we have Swami Anand Nivedano also with us on call. Okay, because there is a problem of internet. So I welcome you, Swami Anand Nivedano, to our program, to our show. Can you speak little louder, Swamiji, so we can hear you? Can you hear us, Swami Nivedano? I'm not able to listen. I mean, you don't have any voice. Like, I can't hear you.
It's a long way to Brazil.
Okay, there's a problem with the Brazil. Okay, Swamiji, you just put it on off your camera. Okay, now maybe we can hear you.
Can you hear now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Perfect.
Yes, you're welcome to our show.
Welcome to the
Nivedano
show, Nivedano.
with the drum. Drum.
Okay, shall we get on with it?
Yes, yeah, sure.
Okay. Subhuti, we like to begin with you first.
Yes.
You've had you came to meet Osho in the 70s. You were with him in Oregon. You've been with him all through.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what it was like meeting Osho and being with Osho?
Not really. No. It's impossible to describe, actually. Although I do try to describe in my books, because my books are basically the story of my life with Osho, or my journey with Osho. I think what struck me when I arrived in Pune for the first time in the 70s, when the ashram was still quite small, was simply the power of the experience. You know, in the early 70s in Europe, people were getting interested in meditation, and various gurus and spiritual teachers were coming from India. So we were interested, and we were exploring various things, but they didn't have much. You know, the volume was down too low in a way. It felt good. It felt like we were onto something, but the real experience wasn't there. Or if it was, it only lasted a short time. When I walked into the ashram in Pune in 76, it was like basically entering another planet, you know, because you know, have you watched the movie Avatar?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's like when Jake Scully, I think that was his name, when he goes into Pandora, into, you know, when he goes into it was like that. It was like the volume went from 1 to 10, you know, and suddenly we were, simply because of the energy, transported into very strong experiences of meditation. So the thing that we were all looking for, we suddenly found it, thanks to Osho.
Wow.
Who he was like the nuclear reactor, and we were getting radiated, you know. So I think that was the draw. That was the power of the energy of a man who is enlightened. You know, I know, you know, I've been with several spiritual teachers over the years, but I've never found one who had the voltage of Osho, you know.
Wow. That's amazing.
Mm.
To be with him was like being with an atomic reactor. That is absolutely amazing.
Well, I think we've all had a taste of it. Even now, if you know, if you're fortunate enough, you can go to Pune or any Osho center, especially in India. I mean, India seems to have something special from that point of view. You know, you can go and you will still get the same taste, maybe not with the same ampage, the same number of kilowatts, but you still get the same, you know, you still taste what Osho has to offer today even.
What was it like being with him in Oregon?
It was a little bit different because he was not accessible then. I mean, we all got used to being able to go to Darshan and talk to him and say, Osho, you know, I've lost my girlfriend, what shall I do? Or I can't sleep, or I've had this amazing experience, can you tell me more about it? And you know, he would patiently, he enjoyed it, I think. You know, meeting everybody one-on-one and giving suggestions and then suddenly, just before we went to Oregon, he withdrew from being so available. He stopped his discourses, and the Darshan had already finished, as far as I could remember. So when we went to Oregon, he was there. I got there just before him, I think a couple of weeks before him. He was there, and we saw him once a day on drive-by, and he used to drive by in his Rolls Royce. But otherwise, he was not accessible physically or through discourse. So it was a different experience. And also we were working very hard because we had to build a whole community. So I didn't, Oregon was a challenge, and it was very confronting, and I learned a lot, but I was so happy after Oregon to come back to India. When Osho came back after the world tour, he came back to Pune in 1987. And in the beginning of 1987, and I think I joined him in October or November. And it was such a relief to have Osho back in India, where frankly, where he belonged, as far as I was concerned, and back in the ashram, and in that energy field. So Oregon, you know, I wouldn't have missed Oregon, but I was happy when it finished.
And what was it like being in those good old days?
I mean,
in the ashram.
I don't want to be too philosophical, but if you start thinking about good old days, it means your today is not. I'd rather just focus on today. You know, I mean, I've got my spiritual journey continues, and I have work to do before I leave the body. So I don't spend too much time thinking about the good old days. I mean, really, it's just a roller coaster. You know. My parents used to talk about the war, you know, World War II, because my father fought in the war, so that was a big deal for them. So I think, you know, I have a similar looking back on Oregon and all the adventures. You know, it's a bit like that, you know.
I remember you said that freedom was a very important part, and it had a very high value, where Osho and ashram and everything was concerned.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I was being very accurate there, because I think it was more the energy than the freedom. I think freedom was part of it. I know that when we all first got there in the 70s, we were part of a movement that was very concerned with throwing off everything that society had put on us. And that is true still today. I mean, meditation is a form of unconditioning and unburdening. So we were, you know, it was all about emotional expression and sexual expression and spiritual expression. So it was all about liberating your energy and liberating your consciousness. But
Yes.
it was the intensity of being with Osho that I think was the most gripping thing. You know, just. You know, to be in a pressure cooker. It was a pressure cooker. Still is in a way, but probably not with the flames turned up quite so high.
Well, actually, speaking about pressure cooker, the flame is burning at its maximum right now, because as Moksha will tell you, right now, what we are facing or what we are dealing with is absolutely like a boiler.
Yeah.
So at the moment, for us, most of us who are facing the situations here,
Yeah.
Raghav, would you like to share the picture of Basho?
Yes, definitely. So these are the few pictures of the Basho swimming pool.
Yeah, it looks a little bit green.
It's dirty water.
Yeah.
And as you can see the state of Basho, the way it is right now. Nivedano, can you see?
No, Nivedano is not here with us because his internet is down. So he apologized
Subhuti.
for this time.
Yeah. Subhuti, the interesting is that for this kind of maintenance, they made a loss. Because the people don't come and they have to spend so much money. So they spend for this much maintenance.
Yeah.
So this is called maintenance, where the money has gone. Everyone can say, I went there on last Guru Purnima day. Arti was also with us. It was, no, we feel very sorry to see the way the ashram was maintained, and they said they spent so much money.
Where did the money go?
Exactly. That is the question.
You You expect me to answer that? I think
Raghav, you can remove the picture now, I guess.
Yeah.
I think probably I'm on a slightly different attitude than you, in the sense that, I've known these people who've been running the resort for 30 years now, over 30 years. And I've always had the feeling, I mean, of course, nobody's showing me the books and saying, Subhuti, this is what we spent and this is what we spend. But I've always had the feeling that they've had the best interests of Osho's work at heart. At the same time, I think that the fragmentation of the movement was inevitable. It always happens that after a charismatic, a great spiritual teacher dies, the movement fragments. Everybody from Gautam Buddha on down, Jesus Christ, it's like it always goes into different. And Osho was such a magnet. He pulled so many people together of different kinds of people that it was. I think it was inevitable that it would split as it did in the 90s. I think there's a distinction I would make, which is, one can disagree with how the management team have been running the place. That's one thing. I think, there's all kinds of arguments can be, but I think I disagree with, I personally don't think that they've been, stealing money. I don't see them running, sailing around the Mediterranean in luxury yachts or building houses in the Bahamas. So I think there we have a difference of opinion. I'm not sure how you would say you would say.
So actually, we were also sailing in the same boat till a few months back. None of us actually could even think that what we were seeing or what we were reading were facts. But then as we went through books and we went through papers, what actually hit us in the face were things that we could not believe. And if you actually understand, which Moksha will explain to you better, it's like a person, if you see a person with multiple personality disorder, you've heard of that?
I think we all have that.
So this whole entire accounting system was like a person with a multiple personality disorder. So there was not one OIF, but there were 3 OIFs were created. So there was an OIF in Zurich, there was an OIF in Pune, and there was still another OIF, which was a private company. So money was getting collected and then moved through these various companies and into private accounts. Moksha, would you care to explain, please?
Yeah. So, Subhuti, you must be remembering that till 2021, they were never giving any receipt for the money collected at the ashram. Right. So
I don't know, but I assume that you know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever we used to buy.
Did you ever get a receipt when you pay the money for a voucher or anything, for food voucher or anything?
No.
So,
exactly.
So nobody. Okay. So when I was the first to write to the government departments and various departments that did you give any exemption by issuing? So in this they were trapped because government cannot give exemption. So no, we didn't give. So then I said, then how come they are collecting cash and not giving the receipts or bill? So they started giving the receipts, and you will surprise that when we are purchasing the food vouchers, the receipt you will get it's of the private limited company. It's not the ashram's company. It is not going to money to OIF or now Sannyas Foundation, not to the trust. The money goes in a private limited company in which the Mukesh Sharda and someone else is the director. So I was also believing that no, whatever they are doing it very good. But when the proofs come, say it's a legal paper. When they are giving the receipt and the name is written, it's a company. Okay, so we can identify that the money is not going into the trust account. The maintenance belongs to the trust. The money has to be spent for maintenance by trust. But the money, the main money is coming, it is going into the private companies. So, this shows. My another question is that the day when you join as a trustee, that 4 trustees, what was their net worth? And
Not
how
me.
come that? Huh? Not me.
Not
I'm
me.
just not me, not you, Subhuti.
Yes.
I'm just asking the question to the management team. The
Ah.
day they join as a trustee, what was their net worth? Everyone know. And how come their net worth increase in hundreds of fold? With you and me, have you ever seen Mukesh working outside, doing any business outside, or Devendra doing any business outside, or Sadhana doing any business outside, or like Yog Pratap went outside to work or do job or anything? No. Then how come their income has increased in hundred of folds? So these are the clear questions, which we never get any answer.
Yeah, I can see you are obviously a formidable opponent of the trustees.
See, I am not saying the paper says. I don't say. I
okay.
don't blame them. But the whatever legal paper we have, they shows that their income has increased in hundreds of folds. And during that time, everyone knows that they never did any business outside.
Yes, yeah, I know. Well, I didn't when I was working there in the 90s. I didn't work outside. I was kept on. I was given a room and I was given food passes because I was doing an essential function.
Exactly, that's all.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes.
So during your stay, how much money you made?
No, nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. So even I also worked there. We are not getting anything. There was no only food pass.
Yeah, I think that there's a. I don't put me in a position to defend the trustees. Okay, I mean.
I understand. I'm not say
that would be.
What I mean, why the reason to put this is that it is not that I have any personal enmity with any of trustees.
Right.
Okay,
yes.
it was never. There is no like my family property that I have dispute with Mukesh or anyone, Dhyanesh or Devendra or no. We were friends. Basically, we were all friends.
Yeah.
Okay. We share a good time. We all share a very good time.
Yeah, we did.
So and many times, like I just went and there's a Dhyanesh, please, I want to have a coffee, please. No, the relations were like that. But then when the things came out slowly and after scrutiny the papers, basically I don't, I always, this all people knows even, I don't talk without any papers. Whatever, and it's not my personal paper. The paper provided by ashram itself. I am producing the paper which was submitted by the trust only.
Yeah.
So it is not I didn't find from outside. It is from the ashram inside only.
Yeah.
Whatever paper I am having, it is their own. It is certified by their auditor and signed by the trustees.
Yes.
So that is the important.
Yeah,
so
very important.
There is no chance that this paper are wrong because it is given by them only.
I'm not quite sure how I would phrase this because I would say that I'm sure that if you say that money has gone into channels where it should not be going, that you have some basis of fact. What I have always assumed with the various financial goings on with the management over the years is that they channel money in ways which to the advantage of what they are trying to do, rather than what one might say is legally correct. So and then I know that money has moved through. I hear stories of money moving through Hong Kong or Switzerland or various places, and so yes, I mean there's probably grounds there, to object to what they have done on a legal basis, and that might well make a case for you with the charity commissioner and other people. But I would simply say, and I'm speaking, as someone who doesn't, I'm not an insider, but I've been around the resort now for for 30 years, and I know they've spent a huge amount of money on the place. Basho cost a fortune to landscape and to change the whole changing room area, and I mean there's been a huge amount of money invested in the resort. And I think that's probably one of the problems, because they rightly or wrongly, they aim their market at a 5-star luxury resort, and there's not that many 5-star people who want to come to a city, polluted city like Pune for their holidays. And of course, when you do aim at a five-star clientele, first of all, you need to be sure that there is such a clientele available, and of course you're excluding people whose budgets don't extend to that kind of price range. So they dug a bit of a hole for themselves there, I think. But the amount of money they've poured into the place is enormous. So if you tell me now that yes, money is moving around in places it shouldn't, yeah, okay, that might be technically illegal, but I still feel in my heart, for better or worse, that their intentions are good.
Well, Subhuti, that is highly debatable. Whether their intentions are good or they have malintentions, because what the papers show is that a huge amount of money has actually been siphoned off and gone into private accounts. So if they meant well for the ashram, this money would have come back into the ashram and would have made our OIF a rich community. It would not, dwindle over the years. So there was a time when when you were around and when I was around, there were so many people coming into the ashram, and it was full. It was blossoming. It was actually flowering with people. But today, you see hardly like 15, 20 people or 30 people. And being a trust in India, they should not keep the prices so high that a normal average Indian cannot go in, or the price of food is so high that nobody can afford. So one has to come down to brass tacks, I should say.
I think Moksha wants to say something.
Swami Moksha, yes, he wants to say something. Swami Moksha, what do you want to say?
Say, Subhuti, I will little differ that the people was not coming, and then that is till 2018-19, there was a surplus of 15 crore plus in the bank deposit in the accounts. So within 2 years, the money has become zero. How come it become? Till 2018-19, there was a clear surplus fund, which was in the bank deposit. That is the auditor certified paper given by the trust.
Yeah.
Another question. Suppose 15 crores plus. 15 crore plus in 18-19. Balance sheet.
Okay.
In the balance sheet of the trust, there was a surplus money, which was with the bank. So within 2 years, the entire money disappeared, and they say we need another 3-4 crore rupees for the maintenance. So the deficit is much high. Second thing, till after 2000, we suddenly noticed that the visitors came down. See, one has to think. Till 2000, everyone knows that the number was rising. Every year, the visitors' number of rising. And then after 2000, suddenly it was declining. And it was like a sharp. Decline was very sharp. So why, our question is that why they didn't do any corrected step to do this step? It has to be. Say, even in the business we are doing, if the number of customer fall down in certain time, we should have to change our strategy. We have to work on it. We have to talk with certain people. But nothing has been done. Since 2000, after 2000 till now, the number of visitors declined every year in a significant percentage. But nothing has been. It is just, that's why the doubt is created that these people really want to destroy the place.
Oh,
Otherwise, say why they didn't do anything to increase the number of people. It was never. Have you ever seen? No.
well, I think I would, because we were all there during the 90s. As far as I could see, the number of people declined virtually starting when Osho left his body, and there was a steady decline through the 90s and after the millennium. So I think it's been, I think in the beginning anyway, it was understandable, that the main attraction has gone, and people were looking. Some people at least were looking elsewhere. Yeah, but it is. I mean, I wouldn't want to answer for Jayesh and the management team why they pursued the economic policies they did, because I said on many occasions, Jayesh. I remember Jayesh came up to me once during a New Year's Eve party and said, "Subhuti, what do you think of the place now?" And he was really keen to know. And I said, "Do you really want to know?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "It's too expensive." And he was very upset. So his economic policies are not something that I have been able to understand so much, but I don't think anybody really wants to get rid of Basho. I find it difficult to imagine that they all sat around one day and said, let's sell Basho and put the money in our pockets. I don't really think they did that. I think, Jayesh personally designed the Basho complex when it was completely renovated. It was his baby in a way. So I imagine that if they do want to sell it, it's because they feel they have to economically.
Well, Subhuti, here again, when they said that they made a loss of 2.75 crores, we put a proposal to them, and we said that we sannyasins collectively, we can raise the money for you.
Yeah.
We will do crowdfunding, we will raise the money, and we will give it to you. But then you have to resign from your present trusteeship, because it clearly shows that you're not efficient at doing what you're doing. But they don't want to even resign. They're so stuck to their power, and to that whole chair of being there.
Yes.
But and there is no communication from their end. We all wrote letters to them. We said, look, we are all sannyasins. Let's sit down. Let's talk. But throughout, they have been very high-handed and very arrogant. So when you go there and you raise questions again to them, you're banned. Like I was banned on Guru Purnima Day. I went there and they said, because you talk on YouTube, you're banned. And you ask them why? No, we don't give you a reason why. It's just like you're,
I think Moksha wants to say something.
So my simple question to the management team is, where the royalty money has gone? They are not running any place in the world. Just like for any other commune or any other meditation center or nothing. So all the huge amount, the royalty of Osho's audio, video and books, which is collected by the OIF Zurich, where this money has gone. Just for a couple of crore rupees, why they need to sell the Basho?
Yeah.
It is Osho's money. The royalty collection, it has to be used for Osho's only. Why they are not bringing that money to India? One portion, one small portion. I don't understand why they are not bringing.
Yeah.
Where that money is going? My question is where that royalty money is going. It's not a small amount.
I think one of the consequences of your legal action will be that there will have to be more transparency.
Exactly.
If the court sides with your argument, if the court accepts your argument, then the various foundations will have to answer your questions.
Already, Charity Commissioner order for the.
I certainly can't answer your questions.
No. See, Subhuti, this is we are just sharing the information what we have. It's not. We know that. Okay, you also. I am sure that you also want to know the answers. Everyone want to know.
Not in detail, but generally, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Because
what is going on?
See, the basic thing is that. See, why we are more suspicious? The way they design and they try to sell the Basho, it was very suspicious and a very inside, it was very close manner. But somehow we came to know. And then
I assume that they were trying to avoid the controversy.
Exactly. And second thing I don't understand, when there is a huge amount of royalties coming from all over the world, what the loss because of COVID or Corona, it was very minimum. It's not too much for this kind of organization. Right. Even small hotels, see, Corona was not only in the Pune, it was all over the world. And some countries was affected much more than India. But how many people are selling their properties? Very less. All are. And even after, forget about the Corona, since 1 year, everything is running. You won't find any hotel room in Koregaon Park now. All the hotels are running full. All the other ashrams in India, you say Nisarga, Osho,
India.
They all are running full. Even Nepal.
Even Nepal, yes.
They are all full. Why people are not coming here? Because they don't welcome the people. The way they treat that people will don't like to come. See, when you are not welcoming the people, nobody would like to come.
I think
if you see today, if you went today,
I just think it's not so much the welcoming as the because you were part of the welcome center yourself, so I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
It was. I think it's the price. Quite frankly, I just think it's very expensive, and very few people can match that.
You're right.
The price is also not also the price, attitude. But the way they approach the people, that is also very bad. It is not only the price.
Well, I think one of the motivations. I think one of the motivations. Sorry.
Yeah, price is one of the reasons. But the attitude is also another very major reason.
I think one of the motivations of the opposition, which of course includes you, is that people feel ignored and excluded because they have not been welcomed into the decision-making process. And I think that's probably more to the point than nobody's really sort of saying, well, come in and we'll chat about it. Everybody's like, it's more like they believe that they have their own course of action, and they don't want to change that or to widen it to include people. So I think you're right about the fact that quite a few of the people who are opposed now feel ignored or excluded.
Yeah, and also, like, if you remember Welcome Center in the earlier days, there was always some nice music playing there, like Welcome to the Pines or some nice river music. And there were people, the energy was loving. The whole energy around the ashram was, hugs, smiles, music, people sitting on the egg, chatting away. That whole thing has disappeared. And somehow now it's become too much rules. And the worst thing now is the mala. That if you wear your mala, you are not allowed to go to samadhi. And Devendra or somebody will come and say, you are not allowed to wear the mala. No,
Arti, I would like to correct you. Not only samadhi, in the ashram only. You
in the
cannot enter
ashram.
in the,
Yes.
not samadhi. In the ashram gate only is not allowed.
So I can go with a crystal chain, or I can go with a locket of, say, some actor, but I cannot go in wearing Osho's photo. If
You
you
can
wear
wear
Osho's photo, it's like you are the villain of the piece, and you are banned. You are not allowed.
Subhuti, you
Any
can wear
other
the
mala will do. Yes,
Sorry?
any other mala. If you are wearing
Subhuti,
any other mala.
Yeah.
Is somebody asking me something?
no,
No, we
Subhuti,
Yeah.
even someone is carrying, wearing the cross, he is allowed, but Osho's mala is not allowed.
Jesus is allowed and Osho is not.
Not, yes. Osho is not
Yes.
allowed.
Osho is not allowed anymore in Osho Resort. And
This is too much.
it's actually very painful.
Mm.
And recently, I had a very bad run-in with Devendra because I wore my mala and I said I want to go to meditate. No, you cannot go. And he's telling me, you shut up. Now imagine a trustee comes to you and very aggressively tells a lady that you shut up. I mean, is this the way a management behaves with anybody, or a person of meditation or any form of love is supposed to behave? It's actually very disgusting. What to say?
I've been, I've watched my whole journey with Osho, and I've noticed that as time went on, I had to become more, and I don't want to justify. I would hate to spend my time trying to explain or defend the management team and what they do, but when I take it for myself, first of all, I had to let go of Osho, obviously, his body when he died. And then I had to let go of the commune because the commune split up. To me, once in a while, I like to look at my mala and possibly put it on. But to me, it's always been a series of letting go of the external. Of course, now, I'm 77 years old. Pretty soon, I'm going to have to let go of my body as well, So when I look at it, of course, when we discuss the external, then, of course, everybody has their opinion and there are arguments. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be some kind of legal action. But when I take it for myself, it's not, to me, it's if somebody says to me I can't wear my mala, then I just have to focus on my inner mala, and that's really the whole journey with a master, isn't it? To basically to let go of everything in the end, including one's own attachment to the physical body. So I'm not really so focused on the details anymore, because I can see that in my own life and as a sannyasin, I have very little time left. So I'm not really quite so attached to the outer trappings, so to speak. Though I can see why some people are, of course.
That is totally, it's comes again back to the same point, that attachment or detachment, that's your own personal journey.
Right.
But as an organization, to say that your freedom is curtailed, that is wrong. It's a matter of my individual choice, my freedom, if I want to wear the mala or I don't want to wear the mala. But an organization cannot dictate to me that you cannot wear the mala and go. And if you wear the mala, then your entry is prohibited. That is wrong. That is the fundamental difference between the two points of view.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Osho said was, I am against all organizations because all organizations kill the truth. So whether it's this organization or some other organization, I mean, sooner or later, this organization is also going to have to retire because they're all getting as old as I am. There's always going to be some kind of organization whenever a large number of people gather together. And, I just wonder if, let's say all the opponents of the management team were welcomed in and there was everybody knew everything and there was full disclosure and transparency. It may end up that everybody's going to look at each other and say, well, we better sell Basho after all. There's no guarantee that, but we'll see. The court case is, Swami Moksha is obviously a formidable legal force. And, there may well have to be a shift in the way the place is run, simply because of from the legal point of view.
Raghav, would you like to show us some images of the stop the sale of Basho?
Yes, sure.
Just for our viewers to see what has been happening. So this was at the Charity Commissioner, where you can see
in Pune.
200. Yeah, in Bombay, the Charity Commissioner.
Okay.
Where they're trying to do a bid on the sale of Basho, and there were about 200 sannyasins who showed up, and there were people sitting on the road, there were people standing, there was guitar playing, people from all ages turned up with Save Osho Samadhi and Stop the Sale of Basho. So this is a few of the pictures that we were doing those days.
When was that?
Moksha, where this was?
15th of November.
Ah, okay. Oh, quite recently.
Yeah.
Yes, it is quite recently.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the stuff that we've been doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Subhuti, I'll tell you one interesting thing I would like to tell you to all the people. Like, I want to share with all the through you. I'm telling. See, till 2020, there was hardly like one or two sannyasi was fighting against Pune. Like, there were only one or two people were questioning about the functioning of ashram and all. I was also having the questions, but I never asked or I never doubt or anything, because anyway, end of the day, what I was feeling happy that, okay, the place is there. They are running the place.
Yeah.
The number of people declined, everything. But what was the satisfaction end of the day? That, okay, Osho's ashram is running. But the day when I came to know that they are trying to sell the ashram, previously they also tried to hand over the property to some other suspicious trust. But finally, when they tried to sell and it came in a black and white, the papers came out that they are selling it. Then it is not only me, all the sannyasis who came from across the India, and we received a lot of from the out of India also, global. See, this place doesn't belong to only particular people. Osho was global. Osho was never Indian or never Western. Osho was for the humanity. So entire the world people, they really shook that what is happening, why they are selling it. The question now, everyone is like it is the part of their heart. Ashram is a part of our heart. How can we detach one part of our heart? So that was because of that only the people came. You would surprise that 12,000 people wrote letters and emails to the charity commissioner to stop this, which was never heard in the life. Even Ashram never received any kind of suggestions or complaints in the history. But the huge outrage came when the news spread that, oh, they are selling the ashram. One part. So this is the reason. It's like, see, nobody want that ashram should get shrink. It has to be expand. Osho was always in that favor of expansion. Osho was never for selling anything. And even if they were having any issue of the finance or something, if they would have appealed to the people would have given the money. But then what happened when you ask for the money, then you have to give the reason and explanation and the accounts, which they don't want to. That is why they are hiding so much things. We all know that certain percentage of plus minus we have to do for some expenditure. Everyone know. I also did the business. I also know. But you don't want to give a single rupee account. This is something too much. And till 30 years, nobody asked till 30 years, have you ever seen that any sannyasi asked for the accounts? We never asked. But when they try to sell something mysteriously, hiddenly, in a cunning way, then the question will raise. Because now what happened, the limit has crossed now. That was, we are having so many questions. But now when this news came of Baso selling, then everybody's limit was crossed. So that is the reason that this agitation has got the power. The people from all over the world, all over the India, they don't want this ashram has to be sold at any cost. So that is the reason. Because, and one more thing now, okay, you did 30, 40 years, you are managing the ashram now. Prepare now. Give the time. You bring some new blood. Say now, they says no, Indian cannot run. Now, 90 or more than 100 companies of the world, Fortune 500 companies, the CEOs are of India. India is having the best management minds all over the world. You see all the big companies, you will find the CEOs are Indians. So why this ashram cannot be managed in a better way now? Even if you want to, even if they want to run it professionally, hire the good brands. It is available. Where is the need to sell? That is my question. You run the way you want, but hire the good management team if you are not able to. Since 30, 40 years you are trying, and end of the 30 years you say, no, we cannot run, so we have to sell it. So this is something shameful for this management. That's what I want to say.
Well said.
And main thing is for them to reduce prices. They should really,
Arti, the problem that I've always had with that is this: that they have created, they have followed this movement of expansion. They went across the road on lane 1, and then they bought that whole area and constructed the Osho Auditorium, which needs air conditioning, and then the hotel, and then I think there's another office block there which is sublet to Godrej or some other Indian company, big Indian company.
Godrej.
And of course, when you expand that long ribbon, it's rather an unusual shape. The whole resort is a long ribbon stretching from the Nalla Park to the Blue Diamond Road. I think the overheads on financing that place are extraordinary, and the thing that I'm curious about, if the people who are opposed to the management team are successful in the courts, then there's going to have to be a change in because the courts will enforce it. There's going to have to be a change in the way the place is run. There will be more transparency. There will be more public accounting than there is at the moment. I'd be curious to see actually whether, because you and I have a basic, I think we have a basic difference on our assumptions, which is that Moksha and Arti assume that there is enough wealth in the foundations, the various foundations, to run the place without some kind of radical proposal like selling Basho. You think that there is enough money, and I seriously doubt whether there is this invisible pot of gold in Zurich or some other, or Hong Kong or wherever it's being hidden, I think you have a certain assumption that if everything comes out in the open and and these people are forced to come to account, that there will be a revelation that the place, that there is enough money to run the place. I don't think there is. I think it's pretty. It's always been, I think, a bit of a bit of a scramble to cover the costs of the place, as far as I can assume. But as I say, nobody's showing me the books.
In
So
2020, 1 minute, Arti. One Ma Vajra from Germany, she purchased one room in ashram. You know where the money gone? Money went in one Hong Kong company.
Right.
Digital Media International.
Yeah.
And what this company is doing, God knows.
Yeah, I think
Who is the beneficiary? Who is the beneficiary of that company? God knows.
Yeah, right. No,
we have the papers. I can show the all details.
No, I'm sure you're right.
The amount is also very huge. It's a 2.75 crore rupees.
It is 2.75 lakhs.
Yes.
Sorry?
2.75 crore rupees, Indian
Yeah.
rupees.
Yeah.
Yes. That is involved with this case.
Yes.
This case.
Yes, I'm sure
So
there are
then-
all kinds of movements around different accounts, which
Yeah, exactly.
But the difference is that you assume that there's something fishy going on, and I assume that they're doing it basically because that's the best way to run
My
the
question
place.
is where this money went. My question is that where this money went. You are
Okay.
giving a room in ashram, so burden is on ashram. Okay,
Right.
the maintenance done by ashram. The person will come and stay in ashram. So burden is coming on trust, and the money
Right.
is going to a Hong Kong company. So my
Yes.
question is where their money went.
Yeah.
I am more interested in the trail, where the finally money went, to whose
Yes.
pocket. See, this money has to come to the trust account, and which is not came. So I don't assume. I really give the papers that okay, something is wrong, and it is absolutely wrong. The money
Well,
went into some private pocket.
I
So
can see
then-
that. I can see
Yeah.
that they have their work cut out with people like you, Moksha, holding a magnifying glass to their financial dealings. I think that I'm glad I'm not at the other end of it.
So-
I know that. We are just, I told you now, we are just sharing the information what we have.
Yes.
Moksha, two more things I want to add to this. You remember when we were buying the sticker? When we were buying the sticker for 790 rupees,
Yeah.
and the Western sticker, I don't know how much it was, 1900 or 1800 something. I'm not sure.
Double.
I was so happy. I was not. That was the only time I was happy. I was not a.
Yeah,
I was
right.
Indian and I was paying 970 rupees.
Yeah, I was thinking of becoming an Indian citizen actually.
Yeah. So that 970 rupees that we were buying the sticker, every time we were buying that sticker, the money was not going to the ashram. So all these years, I thought the money was going in the ashram. It was not going in ashram. It was going to Moksha. You know that it was going to Neo Sannyas, right?
New Sannyas Foundation.
Neo Sannyas Foundation, which is again
yes.
a private company.
No,
And
NSF
then,
is a trust also. NSF is a trust also.
and
NSF
then Dharamshala, the guest house where people stay, there also the money was going into private accounts. So all
That is
this
private.
money, which was actually supposed to make our ashram rich, was actually our ashram kept getting poorer and poorer because the money that was supposed to come in was being drained out by these guys. So it was like the ashram was being bled dry, and they were becoming, somebody down the line was getting richer and richer. Who was getting richer and richer? We need to have an inquiry. We need to have a CBI inquiry. We need to apply for a forensic examination inquiry of their accounts. We need to have PILs. We need to have all the government inquiries to take place so that we can arrive at the total truth of what has been going on in the
Okay.
name of Osho.
Well, good luck, Arti.
Thank you. We need to get our answers.
So, Subhuti, our whole exercise is not just to prove them guilty. Our entire exercise is just to save the ashram and to run as it earlier it was. We want the ashram to come on how it was before 2000, before millennium. That is the only exercise. We don't want that. Say, end of the day, what I will get if I'll prove that they are wrong or right? It doesn't matter. For us, what matter is that we want the golden days back. We want
music groups.
Yeah. No.
Dancing.
Yes, I understand, Moksha. I understand your motivation.
Basically, you remember that food vouchers, what we are getting the food vouchers. One beautiful line was written on that.
Meeting for place of friends.
Meeting place for the
friends. Yeah.
So that was destroyed. We want that the same. We want the same thing. That is the only thing we want.
Well, maybe we all want the same thing. Let's see.
Yeah.
Exactly. Say, it was very to see that, like, when we are working in the different department, one is German, one is Italian, one is Russian, one is from somewhere else, one is from Indian. In India also the different part, and hey, you can't do like this. Hey, it was what a way of, like, we always fight daily, we always hug each other daily, and different culture, different people, different languages. It was totally destroyed. Why suddenly they were brought? One day they declare, okay, no outsider, all the work will be done by Sodexo company. When Sannyasi was there, your people was there to offer the work as meditation. They entirely, totally destroy suddenly the energy and the work, that culture of the ashram.
I'm not sure that doesn't really mesh so much. I mean, I love this idea of going back to the commune days. I'm not sure it's possible, but as I recall, when Osho left his body, the first thing that happened that I'm aware of, first of all, some people left because they wanted to go to a living spiritual teacher. And people my age were, quite a few people that I know, they went back to the West and said, okay, instead of working like crazy in any horrible job to make money to go back to be with Osho, we'll get good jobs and just go back to India, for 2 weeks. So there was a gradual ebbing away of the commune workforce. And I remember one of the first things that happened that I experienced was that, the dishwashing, we were all, when we got these big dishwashing machines and we had a shift, and people basically didn't, there weren't really enough people to do the dirty jobs anymore, like cleaning the toilets and doing the dishes. And I think it was inevitable in a way. I mean, maybe it wasn't inevitable, but I think this was one of the reasons why Sodexo, Indian labor force, gradually became more and more, taking over more and more of the jobs. I don't know if it was inevitable. I don't know if the commune could have been preserved. But for me personally, as an individual on the path of the inner journey, letting go of the commune was a big step that I had to face. The golden days. I stayed on in the 90s longer than almost any Westerner, except the hardcore. And it had basically disappeared by the time the millennium came, just shortly after the millennium. I don't think it was so intentional. I think it was inevitable.
Certain things I understand. You are absolutely right. but like suddenly they stopped all celebration, which was pulling a huge crowd from all over the world. All the 5 celebrations, Osho's birthday, Osho's anniversary, Guru Purnima, then that Enlightenment Day, suddenly they stopped.
You remember the carnival we used to have?
No, no,
Where
Yeah,
we
which
would
was
go
the very
out
big.
from the back gate and singing songs, and in that truck, all dressed up and beautiful. And you,
Aarti, Aarti, the important thing was it was a huge crowd puller.
huge celebration. Yeah.
Huge celebration. Like every celebration, 5,000, 7,000 people used to come. You must be knowing that figure, like 6, 7,000 people was coming every celebration. And for 5 days, suppose like, and the sale of, say, the Osho times and the sale of the books during that time. Oh, sorry. It was a huge. And then says, no, it's a conditioning. What there's a reason wasn't given that it's a conditioning. So then my question is then why 31st December? Isn't it conditioning to celebrate 31st December?
It is. Of course.
Why there are different yardstick? It has to be rational now for the both side. 31st, celebrating 31st December is not conditioning, but celebrating Osho's birthday is a conditioning. This was ridiculous.
Your legal arguments are convincing, sir.
It's all things now. It decreased the fall of that footfalls. That is the important. My question is why I'm concerned, because many people were coming every time, and then once you come a couple of times, you will keep coming. Then you don't have the reason to come. Oh, Guru Purnima, now they are not celebrating. Okay, don't go. So these things, these all the decisions. The result was that the people stopped coming to the ashram.
Yeah, I don't know if it was inevitable or if there had been different policies, there would have been any difference. I just don't personally. I just don't know. Whether we could have continued to have that commune the way it was.
I'll tell you one interesting information that in entire India's all centers, small centers, which is a day center or ashram, small, on the day of Guru Purnima and Osho's birthday, at least hundreds of people gather everywhere, because it's a tendency to celebrate the Osho's birthday, or whether you say conditioning or whether you say love. But the important thing is people now also they go and celebrate these days, because the Pune is not doing. They want to come, but there is no celebration. And monsoon celebration you are doing, whether is rain is there or not, whether there is a rain or not, but they celebrate the monsoon.
I think one of the benefits of the fragmentation that happened after Osho left his body is that you have the flowering of some very beautiful Osho centers around. I mean, you have Ma Nilam went to Dharamsala, and now Priya runs. Ma Nilam passed away, and now Priya runs Osho Nisaga. And then you have the Osho World just close to Delhi Airport, which I find a very beautiful center. And of course, you have Swami Arun in Nepal, who has converted half of Nepal to and many other centers around India, and of course some in Europe and America. So I don't see it as of course there is a special feeling about Pune, and it has to be because that was where Osho lived. But there's been a very positive side to the fragmentation that happened,
Exactly.
and I think whether or not this management team has run the place the best way it could, I think it's as far as Osho's work is concerned, I think nothing has, there's not been a, if anything, there's been an expansion rather than a contraction.
No, expansion is good, but these people are not happy with the expansion also. They keep sending the notices. They are very much active on just removing the pages and the programs from the Facebook and the YouTubes.
The trademark.
If you put, yeah, so it is not like that. Even whatever if you are doing on your own without giving any burden to them, they don't want you to do any work of Osho. No, they don't want, and they don't allow others also.
But it's happening anyway.
No, but then it is like, say, recently there is one that very good facilitator. 4,000 people was attending the evening satsang online. He started during COVID because it was not possible for people to gather. So, and people are getting frustrated. There was a lot of, so he started doing it on the online. All people are sitting on the camera or like TV or something, and really he was doing a fantastic job. His entire that page.
Who was that?
And, huh?
Who was that? I can't remember.
Atmaninath, Swami Atmaninath.
Oh, no.
And it was taken off by because of the copyright. So even a few days back, Raghav was running, and one song came, "Tumhare Darshan Ki Bela," and immediately the show gone off air.
Oh,
right now also, if I play a music, Five Fingers or Terra Incognita, you can see the result. Within 2 minutes, this show will be discontinued from the Facebook. Why? I don't understand. See, we are not selling that anything. We are not making any money out of this when you listen. But no, you cannot listen. They don't want to do anything. They don't allow anyone to do it.
Well, yeah, but the reality is, I mean, as I say, don't put me in the position of defending the management team's policies, but I feel very confident that Osho's work around the world, and not just as it's put out by Pune, but I think Osho's work around the world is doing very well.
Program has gone on very long.
It has, hasn't it? Yeah, good Lord.
Yeah. Before we sign off, Subhuti, I'd just like to ask you one more thing. Last thing, Raghav. You do something with an enneagram.
Enneagram, yeah.
Enneagram. What is an enneagram?
You want me to start now when you want me to start now when we're just closing?
No, we will do another one. We are going to do 2-3 more shows with you.
Yeah, okay. But basically, it's the only thing. Before I came to Osho, I did all kinds of different spiritual or semi-spiritual work. And there was only one thing that survived my meeting with Osho. I dropped everything else. And that was this system called the Enneagram, which is a way of looking at how people's ego structure is created. So it meshed very well with Osho. Osho was saying, drop your ego. And the Enneagram was describing the nature of the ego so that people could understand what it was that they needed to watch, to witness. Very briefly, that's the Enneagram. I still teach it these days, so it stayed with me.
So we will do more shows with Subhuti where we are going to learn more about his books, and we will talk about his books and about the Enneagram. And there's so much to Subhuti that it's really going to take us 2 or 3 different shows.
Good Lord.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So thank you so much,
Thank
Arti,
you so much,
Subhuti.
Thank you, Moksha.
Moksha,
yes, very nice talking. Really happy to talk with you, Subhuti, after a long time.
Yes, it's been an invigorating discussion, Moksha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything. Okay.
हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन जरूर दबाएं।
से एक बार मैं बोल दूं।
हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल